All right, if you're an online coach or an online high ticket service provider and you're running ads or you've stopped running ads because they've become too expensive or they've become too inconsistent, then I'm going to show you exactly how to build a predictable system that will outlive you if done right. So basically, every time that you put money in, it will reward you with money out. And after studying multiple $1 million a month businesses, like way more than I realistically should have been studying them, they all have one thing in common, and it's the difference between you and them. And it is only one thing, and it has nothing to do with the budget that they have. So to prove this even more, this is exactly what I did to scale my business to $30,000 a month from ads without touching over $50 a day in ad spend to cold traffic. And this is what my clients did, one who's a fitness coach, and for every $300 he spends, he sees $1,200 cash collected into his pocket. Again, all from cold traffic. And another client of mine, an AI agency, who does over $15,000 a month to cold traffic without touching over $30 a day in ad spend. Now, I'm not saying that these systems are going to remove content altogether, because you still should be posting content to create resonance and authority and connection with your audience. But with these systems, you do not need to solely rely and sell on content. So what does everyone have in common that allows them to see low cost per lead, predictable, and qualified appointments from cold traffic every single day on autopilot? And it's a sexy ass offer that solves an immediate pain, and it's a great message to communicate why that offer is the exact one ideal clients need right now. Now, what most coaches and agencies are going to actually tell you is that you need to spend $100 a day to test and get data. You'll have to run a specific funnel. You'll need to wait weeks to see results. When in reality, if your offer is good enough and your message attracts ideal prospects, then a budget or a funnel or time all won't actually matter. Because we have to remember that we're talking to people. And all of these people have a problem that you can solve and understand better than they do, which in turn makes them want to ask you for help for how to solve it. So literally, instead of sending more cold DMs, posting more content and trying to sell through that content, instead of trying to nurture and build connections and trust, or spending more on ads thinking that it's your budget that's the issue, changing the funnel, tweaking the offer, or lowering your price, I'm going to go over how to build an offer for cold traffic, the principles and philosophies of it, so you can build and audit your own. And on top of that, to pair with this offer, I'm going to go over the philosophies of messaging that got all of my clients the results that they did, as well as the same philosophies that these $1 million a month business owners use to convert cold traffic for themselves. And when you do both of these things, not only do you get your ideal avatar to come to you, but the only thing stopping you from scaling is spending more and hiring a team to actually help with the volume. But what a lot of coaches do is they miss the first two parts, and they try and scale or spend or hire without having the structure to understand if their offer can handle the volume. So really, the first thing that I do when anyone comes on board to work with me is I audit their traffic and their offer. And a lot of times people think their offer is good, but they only sell to a warm audience, which they're already sold on you with trust, and you could tell them just about anything, and they're probably going to put down a credit card. Which also means in turn that if you're only selling to warm audiences, that your offer is going to have a hard time selling to cold traffic, because the sales cycle is going to be harder, or you're not used to what it actually takes to get a cold prospect to buy from you who has never seen you and just came from a 30-second ad and maybe watched a VSL or a few more pieces of content from you. And the first thing that you really need to do is you need to understand exactly who it is that you want to work with. And you can leave this video right now, because if you do not fully understand who it is that you want to work with and their exact situation that they're going through right now, to which your offer is supposed to help them, then you need to leave this video and go figure that out, and then you can come back and continue listening. Because if you try and go through all this without fully understanding who it is that you want to work with, then you're going to burn money on ads. Now, a good offer should not only convert and attract, but it should filter. Filter anyone who you wouldn't want to work with who isn't a good fit. And a good offer directly solves a problem that your ideal client is having, and the exact situation that they're going through now feels irrelevant to them, because they feel so certain that your offer is going to be the exact solution that they need. Basically, it should feel like it's the hack or the magic piece to the puzzle that they're missing. Now, if we really break it down, how can we make them feel so certain this is the easiest and fastest way to their desired outcome and getting unstuck from their problem that they're facing right now? And the best way to do that is to have a frame and a risk reversal, or handle an objection. So you can think about it like this. Does this transformation that they're going to go through take 72 hours, 2 months, a year? Let them know the time frame. This will also help you attract who you want just by association. Someone who wants results quickly will resonate with the 72 hours, versus a long-term growth owner won't bat an eye at that year-long time frame. What a lot of people miss is that everything that you actually say matters and will attract someone completely different just because of how they resonate with it. And if you pair this with how Meta uses your creative and your landing page to actually target who you want to work with, the words that you directly say are going to signal to Meta that this is the person that you want to be working with. Now, in a market of over-communication where everyone is skeptical and media is easily bought, so advertising has been made a lot easier to do, it has really turned any market into a skeptical one. Now, I personally hate guarantees as nothing is ever guaranteed, but a risk reversal always helps if you're going direct to offer to cold traffic. And you can use a specific kind of risk reversal to target your ideal client and how they act. Like if you do a money back guarantee, you're going to start seeing people who more favor money as opposed to results. Or if, hey, we don't get this result in this time, we'll work for free. You're going to start attracting people who are more results driven. So it's always just something to think about. So you could literally just do a no risk to use statement, or you could do what you shouldn't do and have the craziest guarantee of, we'll send you a full refund, no questions asked, we'll work with you for free until we hit this result, and we'll wire you $5,000 just for wasting your time. Don't do that. It's terrible. The only people that are going to hop on your sales calls are going to be people that are asking about that guarantee and how it works. And then you have to objection handle for the next 45 minutes without even going through discovery. Just don't do it. But what you could also do is objection handle. It's just the without statement. Something that they think that they need for this to work, when in reality, they don't. It's just pre-qualifying your leads and getting them to move forward by creating absolute certainty. But when you're selling your offer to cold traffic to someone who has never seen you before, and if you want to stand out to a saturated market, your direct offer, whatever it is you're selling, lead magnet, VSL, direct offer, web, whatever it is, has to be for their exact situation that they're going through right now, and position it as the end-all, be-all solution so that they feel like it's easier, faster, and more certain to work with you as opposed to going through the rest of their days with this issue. That is it. And now there are two ways to actually move someone over the line to get them to buy. And if you have proof, you can hammer the shit out of them with just endless testimonials. Or the other solution is you don't have a lot of testimonials and you need to get proof. But the real strategy that I really like to use in a skeptical market is I love lead magnets, whether that's interactive lead magnets or intimate lead magnets, where I'm doing a direct audit where they get something from me, like a Loom video or a breakdown to their personal situation, or something more general that solves a specific problem that they are going through right now in 5 or 10 minutes. Now, you're going to hear a lot of things that you have to run a VSL, you have to run a webinar, you have to run DM, whatever it is, they all work. And the only reason that they work is if your messaging is good and if your offer is good. That is the only thing that's going to matter, as well as the sales process, but that's more back-end stuff. Now, personally, me, I just really enjoy lead magnets. They work. I understand them best. I think they're very good for cold traffic. Me and my clients all use them. And it's just really low commitment for a skeptical market to cold traffic. Even a low ticket funnel is really good. Same thing, just a little bit of a paywall. But realistically, it doesn't matter what you want to run. The principles in this video are going to make whatever funnel you want to run more predictable and consistent. Now, just to recap before we move on to the messaging part, what used to work for offers was having a stronger guarantee. But now people are actually buying from clear offers to where they can understand how this is going to help them the best. And speaking of the best, people used to buy the best offer, whatever it was they could find, which sadly was usually competing on price. But instead, they're now buying what they understand the fastest, so they already think of ways that it can actually help them. So that's why it's so important that you have a clear, simple, concise offer. And finally, people used to buy from complexity. If you have all these value stacks, it's just going to be so much better. And that's what used to get people over the line. They used to feel like it was more because it was more complex, or maybe they didn't understand it. But now it's simple, clear, easy to understand offers that are really pushing people over the line, because the more that they understand about it, the more they feel like it's for them and that they're going to have more certainty to get the result that they want from it. So before we move on to messaging, the last key point that I want to have for your offer is what gap in the market can it fill? If you want to create a real market of one, find a gap that no one else is doing, position that offer, make it super clear, and then sell it. So now that you have your offer, how do you actually stand out from the crowd? Even though you have your gap that you filled and you have a clear, concise offer to sell to cold traffic that they understand, there's really more to it. In an ever-growing saturated market, you can't just post about how good your offer is or just post a new launch and hope that people are going to buy it just because you posted it. Your ideal audience has been marketed towards. They are sophisticated, so you need to give them reasons to why they should be working with you today. And you can't rely on old tactics, as the 2026 and beyond markets are so vastly different from before. What you really need is to paint a picture in their head on why it's more certain, easier, and faster for them to reach their desired goals or solve their problems. And this is done in the messaging of the ad. You can have a good offer, bad messaging, and get sales. They're going to be expensive though. You can have a bad offer, good messaging, and get sales. It's going to be expensive though, and probably inconsistent. But when you actually have both key aspects, you have a starving crowd that flocks to you while positioning yourself as the market of one. And if I were just to break it down like this and leave this video here, you would be fine and you could run killer ads by yourself, but I'm a nice guy and I'm going to break it down so it's easier to understand for you. Here's the short version. Your ad should make your ideal prospect feel like you know their problem and how to solve it easier, faster, and more certain. The ad should not tell them what to do, but make the decision become obvious that they need to move forward with you. And inside the ad, you can use neuromarketing principles and amplifiers to reinforce the decision and trigger emotion to make them more certain and resonate harder with your ad. And I know that was a lot, but let me shorten it even more to one sentence. Your ad should get your ideal prospect to resonate with you and your offer over anyone else because you know their situation better. So let's break down the messaging aspect. A good ad does all that with good positioning and a clear, simple offer and a value proposition. Okay, so I know I said simple is better and I just threw the kitchen sink and the shed with all the tools at you. So let me tell you how to start building the stove to start cooking. Now, what most people actually do in their ads is they just make explainer videos, which triggers nothing but fear in your own eyes because you're actually burning money on ads. They just talk about their offer, why it's good, but never what it does for them. They don't make the prospect feel anything towards them, or even worse, they try and put so many points onto the offer in the messaging to make it sound super unique and better, but in reality, it's just confusing, leaving nothing for the prospect to think about. And there are really two types of thought and thinking when it comes to writing offers in the prospect's mind. And what it is the logic side of thinking and the curiosity side of thinking. Logic will delay the sale. They'll think of every reason why it could work. And on the contrary, they're going to start thinking of reasons why it wouldn't work or why it's the same or where they can get this elsewhere. Well, curiosity will actually push them to the next step because they need to find out more. This is how you trigger dopamine because the brain cannot leave anything unanswered in which it feels like something is going to help it out. So in reality, less is better. So if you start with the situation your client is going through, then you can take the desired outcome they want, not only the surface outcome, but the subsurface outcome. What do they really want from this? Then you have your offer, and that is it. That is literally all you need from the ad. But if your message is not clear to the pain it solves, why it's more certain, easier, or faster, and does not bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be, then your ad dies and you pay a lot of money for leads. But the way to actually write ads and how I go about splitting my ads when I'm writing or I'm going through the day where I'm just scripting all of my ads, I have 30% proof ads, case studies, client wins, just my own story of what I've done. I have 30% offer ads where it's just direct offer that's probably going to be the hook, where in the first 5 to 10 seconds, I'm stating my offer and how I can help. From that, the other 30% is just top of funnel ads. How can I create awareness, contrarian, belief breaking, bold claims? These are the kinds of ads that I'm running to either stir the pot, create emotion, or just get a lot of resonance with me. And then I have 10% outlier ads where I'm just having fun. I'm throwing shit at the wall because there's a lot of times where you think something's not going to work because it's not what you were told to do, and it rips. I've had a few ads that just rip because they're super unique and no one's really ever seen them before. Now, how do you actually go about testing these ads? Inside these little concepts, you want to be testing angles and other concepts. You want to be testing angles and other ways to be positioning this ad and this message as what they really need. So you can talk to a few angles or topics and create variations within them to create uniqueness. And this is how you're going to figure out which avenue of your message resonates more with your ideal prospect. And just another thing to think about when you're creating ads, if you can create an enemy or position against something else, then that's going to bring more authority and more certainty to why this works. People always like to hate on something and they're going to resonate more with you if you both have a common enemy. What I like to do, I like to position against agencies and I like to position against starting with testing budgets of $100 a day or more. And this is really the core message that I have in most of my ads. So to even show you more, let me break down one of my winning ads for you. And I'll read it out for you. Everyone says it'd be so easy to scale with ads if you can just crack the cold traffic code, but me and my clients have been doing this without $100 per day in ads and without complex funnels, and we've been doing this at just $20 a day, and you can completely copy this strategy if you just go to the next page and grab it, because we understand how messaging works and how Meta is going to favor good messaging, because if you can have good messaging that resonates with exactly who you want to talk to, then Meta is going to help you out by finding exactly who that ad is targeting and who resonates with it by putting it in front of them, which allows you to put more predictable leads and appointments on your calendar within 7 days of running this strategy. So if you want to copy me and my clients completely, just go grab my strategy. So that is the entire ad. And this ad ripped so many dollars for me in my pocket from this one ad. So why is it actually so profitable? Well, one, the offer was super simple. The message was simple, and the positioning made it feel more certain that this would work over anything else. This didn't overcomplicate anything, and it feels like this is exactly what my ideal audience is already going through. Now, if we really break it down, we have the hook. It creates immediate resonance with the exact pain and situation that my ideal client is going through, whether that's what they've heard or that's what they thought in their own head. And then from line 2, we have the enemy plus contrast. We position against big budgets and complex funnels, and also going through the exact situation again, where maybe my ideal audience is tweaking their offer or thinking that they need a complex 18-step funnel to make it profitable, when in reality, it's not. And then you have the offer, simple, clear, low friction CTA, where I kind of just blew through the first CTA, where I kind of just presented, hey, you can go copy this if you want. And then we had the certainty builder, the amplifier, why this works, why it's better. So I'm going to use an outside source here, which is Meta, and messaging. Pair these two together is going to help you get more predictable leads and appointments, which would also tie into the time frame. You can use different amplifiers in your ads. You don't have to use this. You can use a story of like, oh, what most people do is this, but this, and this is wrong. Just creating enemy and creating that contrast again is always going to help, but you always should have an amplifier to why this is better so that they can come to the decision themselves of why this is easier, faster, and more certain. Now, again, I know I threw a lot at you, but just to keep it really simple, you can take everything that I said and boil it down to a 30 to 70 second ad and hit all the points without adding any fluff. Therefore, when you nail this stuff down, you create your own market of one. And when it's dialed in, you finally have built a system that can really outlive you to the point where you might need to turn off the ads like me and some of my clients had to do at one point because the volume was just too much for us to handle. And the best part is, we could turn it back on and still get the same volume again. We were no longer worried about where or when our next client is coming from. And we could really sit back, make content for fun again, and just enjoy business and our lives where we didn't feel like we were glued to our computers or our phones every day. So in the description of this video, there's going to be a link for me to audit your business offer and ads. Just a one-on-one call with me. You're not going to talk to a setter or a closer. It's going to be one-on-one with me. Realistically, it's no pressure. We're just going to give you an audit, go over an overview, send you our way. We'll see you in 6 months. You can come back and work with us. So again, it's really up to you what you want to do with all of this information. This is the exact process that me and my clients go through when writing ads. So realistically, it is fully up to you whether you decide to use this and actually make money, or you decide to say, hey, this isn't going to work for me, instead of trying it out and at least getting more data back on your offer and creating more progress. So realistically, I hope this helped and that one of your ads catches my attention and I buy some shit for you. I think that would be huge and really cool. So, peace.